Welcome to Inside View, the program where you get a view from the inside. I'm Sarah Lunsford, and my guest today is going to be very, very interesting for you, actually. He's super interesting to me, and this is Richard Lundin, who is an archaeologist and geologist. Hi, Richard. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, first of all, I want to find out, how did you end up becoming a geologist or archaeologist? Were you sort of interested in it from when you were a child, or did you develop the interest, or how did that happen?
My dad, when in Illinois, bought me a playpen.
Okay.
Which didn't have a bottom in it. It was just a wooden frame.
Okay.
And he put sand in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I dug in the sand, and I came up with a penny from 1898.
Oh, wow.
So when I was in high school, this is a little town called Des Plaines, which was a French town in Illinois. And so we were all looking for where the fort was.
Oh, okay.
And so a group of us from high school went out there, and I got my archaeology merit badge finding the fort.
Oh, wow.
And all it was a bunch, it had all been torn down years ago, but all it was a bunch of French junk.
Okay.
So that's
but they were treasures to you, I imagine.
Oh, they were treasures.
For sure.
Yes.
And then you've actually had quite a long career in this arena. Can you touch on that a little bit? Because you've worked with the U.S. government and everything, haven't you?
Yes, I've worked with the U.S. government. I was with the U.S. Geological Survey, both on the ground here in the United States, and also I interpreted aerial photos and map photos of Mars.
Oh, wow.
And then we did many jobs, projects as consultants for the USGS, the U.S. Bureau of Mines, and various other government agencies over the years, a total of about 15 of them.
So you're very well acquainted with mining and our area in the Mother Lode.
Yes.
And one thing that maybe our viewers don't know is, what was the geological development that actually caused so much gold to be in our area?
Well, we have here in the Mother Lode, we have rocks that are called serpentinite. And those are just nice soft rocks. And they're all over, and what they are the fluids that came up through the ground altered the serpentinite. Okay. And then they can, with over millions of years, these fluids came up through the rocks and deposited first gold inside of pyrite and arsenopyrite, and then over millions and more of years they eroded these rocks down, and the gold came out of the rocks and was deposited in the creeks. Okay. Which is what was first found, obviously, before the world rushed in, as they say, with the gold fields. Well, it's an amazing thing. The Spanish found gold in Southern California in the 1820s. Oh, okay. But because of the Spanish system of what they call denuncios, they said the people didn't want to mine the gold and have it taken away by the government or the church. Oh, okay. Because 20% went to the church, 20% went to the government, and 20% went to lawyers who were Ladrones. Okay. So they just didn't develop it then? No, they didn't develop it. And then again, in 1848, the Mormons found gold here on Mormon Creek.
Yes, they did.
And they didn't make a big deal out of it because Brigham Young had said to the Mormons, you shouldn't go out and mine gold. You should grow wheat.
So to him, wheat was actually more valuable than gold.
Right. And then over through the years, many of the people have made more money supplying bread and fodder and meat to the miners than the miners ever made.
Yes, that is true. That is true. The merchants and the farmers ended up doing quite well during that time, and actually since that time.
Yes, they did.
So as far as gold goes, there's different ways that people can mine gold. Can you sort of elaborate on that?
Yes, from 1840, from December of 1848, 1849, they were finding gold in the creeks, and it's called placer mining gold.
Yes.
And they were able to do quite well. Some of the people that got their gold initially, and especially Chileans, Mexicans, and people from back east, from the gold fields in Georgia, did really, really well.
All right.
And then he took their gold, put it in sacks, and they or sold it to the government up there at Benicia. That's where the government was buying the gold.
Okay.
And then they went on board the Central American, and some of them died, and the gold's still down there at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, that's true. That's true, because some of the ships sank.
Yes. But anyway, that was placer gold. Now, the placer gold was pretty well exhausted by around 1854, 1856. And so people started looking for the sources of the gold.
Okay.
And there were two sources.
All right.
They started hydraulicking. They washing the gravels out of up north of here, and washing the gold out of gravels that were up at the sides of the hills.
Yes.
And then that caused a lot of pollution in the streams, and that was outlawed.
Okay.
Then people, at about the same time, they recognized that there were rich gold veins.
Oh.
And the veins were masses of silica like this, and that had gold in them.
Okay.
And it was coarse.
Yes.
It was about the size of a match head. And so the economics of it made it feasible to mine those rocks, break them up, and get the coarse gold out. And they used stamp mills.
Yes.
And but the Hispanic people used arrastras and patios.
Okay, so what are those for people who don't know what those are?
A patio is a big area, and they have the mules walk around in it, and it breaks down the ore, but it has chemicals in it.
Oh, okay.
And then an arrastra is the mules run around and they drag a big stone.
Okay, so they kind of grinds it down.
They grind it down.
Okay.
And these methods were used by the Spanish from 1540 all over the world. Wherever the Spanish had control, they mined that way.
Okay.
But then people recognized that the Chinese had a way of getting the really fine gold, what we call flour gold.
Okay.
And they had a method developed 3,000 years ago.
All right.
And it was documented by the Jesuits who were over in China.
Okay.
And it was a secret.
Oh.
And the secret was essentially they used like an air bellows system.
Okay.
To fluff off the really dirt and other things that didn't have any gold in them. And the fine gold would fall down through like a kitchen mesh. That's
pretty
down
fine.
Into a silk screen.
Oh, which is even finer.
And the silk screen has a characteristic. It has electric charge on it.
Oh.
And the gold would stick to the silk screen. And I saw this demonstrated in Australia when I was in Australia.
So it actually sticks to the silk screen.
That's right.
Wow, okay.
And what I saw in Australia was that a miner, I was working for a coal mining company over there, but we had placer gold deposits in the property. And the old third generation Chinese Australian miner, he showed me, he said, that's not quite right yet. And he'd wait until the silk screen was all golden.
Oh.
And then what he would do is backwash it, and the gold would come out, and then you use mercury to amalgamate it in a process and get the gold.
Wow.
And the Chinese knew this.
And I bet it was knowledge that was passed down as well. And
Within the tongs.
Within the tongs, which are the families, right? Which we talked about before. And I imagine as they became more experienced, they were able to do it more efficiently as well.
Yes, and the Chinese were very patient. And they would excavate down. I worked on many Chinese diggings in Nevada, Arizona, and now in California and Colorado. And they would excavate an area about 5 feet by 5 feet. That's what they would be given. They take all the rocks out that were in there, the big rocks. And they put them off to the side and build walls around it.
Oh, okay.
Because the Chinese Taoist religion said they weren't allowed to have the gold within the rock. That belonged to the gods.
Oh, so they had to leave that in the rocks.
Right, but they could have the loose gold.
Oh, okay. Wow. So they brought that that mentality, that belief with them.
That's correct.
And so then they did develop, well, like you said, for thousands of years, right? This other way of coaxing the gold out of the dirt, so to speak.
That's correct.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
well, go ahead. Well, I was going to say it's amazing because I mean they developed these techniques, and so did these other nationalities like the Cornish and, like you said, the Chileans. They all mined differently, but there's still gold to be found.
That's right.
So how do modern day gold miners actually find their gold?
Well, actually, modern day gold miners use instruments like this, or aerial photographs to find the rock types. They have very, very, very small quantities of gold in them. Because the price of gold being $1,650 an ounce, they're looking for gold that is in the rock, but it may not even be visible. And then they crush the rock very fine, down to around, flour size. And then they use new reagents to get the gold out. And that's what's happening all throughout Nevada. And I was taught how to prospect for these fine microscopic gold by my father-in-law and his partners, who found 50 million ounces.
Wow.
Right.
And that's the very fine flour gold.
That's the very fine flour gold over in Nevada.
Wow.
But
Because I know Nevada's known for being the silver state, right? And I know there's gold over there, which obviously you're saying, but I think it would surprise a lot of our viewers that there's more gold over there than they anticipated.
That's correct.
And still.
And also, as in this piece here, the black is argentite, which is a silver sulfide, and the gold is all around it. And so the silver argentite with dissolved gold started first in this rock, and then the rock was broken down a little bit, and the gold shows as rings around the argentite. That's silver.
So are they connected in how they're created or made, I guess you would call them?
Yes.
So if you're going to find the silver, which you know the technical name,
argentite,
you will typically find some sort of gold around it?
Right, that's right.
And that's like wherever in the world?
Wherever in the world. And you also sometimes find gold tellurides. And that's we have here in the Mother Lode, we have places apart from where the main veins were, in which there were gold tellurides, like Carson Hill. And even farther south, towards Coulterville. And where we live, the Confidence Mine. But anyway, one of the, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so with modern miners, obviously, or gold finders, I guess you would call yourselves, besides miners, you have these more technical ways of finding the gold. So how do they actually work?
Well, this instrument here is called a falcon.
Okay.
And it sits inside of my Filson.
Okay.
And then I go out in the field with other members of the Calaveras Mineral Society,
All right.
the Falcon Group, and I will look for rocks that have a slight iron stain. They're slightly iron stained.
Oh,
and
okay.
they're heavy.
All right.
And if they're heavier than what normally, then we turn the machine on and it will detect the gold that's inside of it.
Okay.
That's how this was detected.
All right.
But in this case here, the gold boulder was found in a field, and that's half of it.
And it's heavy.
It is heavy.
Because we carried it in.
265 pounds of rock.
Yes.
And it was standing on end in a field.
Oh,
And it just was
wow.
right there. And then one of our group, whose name I won't reveal,
Okay.
was over there, and he saw the glint of gold on the outside.
Oh, okay.
And then he went over with his falcon, and he got readings all over the rock. Now this
wow.
is new tech. This is technology that is 20 years old.
But it's new in like the broad spectrum of age of mining, right?
Yes. But this technology was, I found out from a fellow geophysicist, because I'm trained as a geophysicist.
Okay.
Years ago, and there was an article in California Mining Journal.
Okay.
And it said that this instrument was the very best instrument out there for finding gold in quartz veins or in mine waste.
Now, why is it the very best?
Because it's set for a certain frequency.
Oh, okay.
And it will find gold in other associations.
Okay.
I've used it to find gold, and I've found copper, lead, and zinc in Arizona for other things. But it's very best for finding gold in these.
Wow.
And there's our club, the Calaveras Mineral Society, Falcon Group.
Okay.
There's about 7 or 8 of us now that have falcons.
Okay.
Have found 20 different gold boulders.
Wow.
And what's amazing about it is that my wife and I were watching, we have a lab over here outside town, and they were cutting one boulder in half that didn't have any gold on the outside but buzzed. And then inside was almost an ounce of gold.
Wow.
And that's not unusual.
Okay. So
Because-
it could be that the boulder or rock looks like it has nothing inside.
That's correct.
But if it's maybe a little heavier, if you have your falcon and it tells you
Buzzes?
there's gold, that it tells you there's gold in there, then you can be pretty assured that there is.
Well, the dredges, when they went through and did the dredge mining, and that's when they went through with these big dredges, and
Yes.
they gathered up all the rocks from the creek beds, and the big rocks were just thrown off to the side,
Yeah.
because all they were interested in was the gold that was in the bottom of the creek.
Yeah.
And so these big rocks on the sides, they have gold in them.
Okay.
And in
And
addition,
they're still there.
and it's still there. And the thing about it is, people are going out there and finding cobbles of the white quartz. You have to look for the white quartz.
Okay.
And when you find the cobbles of the white quartz, you test it and see if it got a little staining.
Okay.
And I've led field trips doing this.
Oh, all right. So just out of curiosity, if someone wanted to take a field trip with you, how would they do that?
Just join the Calaveras Mineral Club.
Okay, all right. And then you would take them out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you just, if it buzzes, it's,
Got gold in it.
you got gold in it. And so as far as like,
What do you do with it?
yeah, and I'm thinking, what do you do with it? But I'm also thinking like the big mine tailings that are around. I mean, like just the piles like down in Copperopolis, and I think there's some out in like further out from Murphy's and that type of thing. Would those, the tailings, do you think they'd have gold in them too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. There are 550 million yards of placer gold tailings in California.
Wow.
And up in Auburn, Tigard Construction
Yes.
is processing the rocks in those tailings and getting so much gold and black and other metals out of them, and we'll talk about that a little bit, that they can give away the aggregate.
I was going to say, are they using it for road base then?
Yeah.
Okay.
They make 3/4 inch road base. I was a geologist for a group of mining, for Ashland Oil.
Okay. All right.
And then later for Peter Kiewit and Sons.
Okay. All right.
And my job was when we had an operation in Yuma, Arizona. They had old placer tailings from the 1850s. We went through, processed them for building all of the marine base down there, and they made so much money off the gold and the black sand.
Wow.
That it was, and it's still in operation today.
So there's multiple products that a company like Tigard can get out of the mining tailings.
There are 31 different products.
Wow. I didn't realize there were that many.
That's correct.
So then, how do they get the rights to the tailings then?
Well, what you do is this: the tailings are considered by the government to be mine waste.
Okay.
And so the normal thing to do is to go in, and since they're unconsolidated, they've been taken out and put over here.
Yes.
And they're unconsolidated, not like mining rock.
No, not at all.
Then you can go two ways. One, if you feel that there is more value in the aggregate material, you can go for an aggregate lease.
Okay.
And then you're only allowed to make aggregate out of it.
Oh, right. Okay.
But if you want to get all of it, you can put in a placer mining claim.
Okay.
And the court has ruled that tailings, like for Tigard, they can extract the other metals, including rare earths, and the gold, using this because they're valuable.
Oh.
All you had to do is prove that in the material there's something that's valuable.
Wow. So it's not as onerous of a process as like a typical mining operation would be nowadays in California.
Because at one end, you're taking the old placer tailings out, you're cleaning up the riparian area, making it as it was before mining, you're crushing the material down, you're making aggregate, and you're selling the aggregate.
Yes.
And then you're recovering on magnetic separation.
Yeah.
The black sand.
Okay.
And also you're recovering the green stuff.
Which also
has
value.
Rare earths in it. Now this was the thing that got us all into this project.
Okay.
Is my wife, who is a chemist, Dr. Claudia Brackett Lundin, just absolutely loves green rocks.
All right.
And she loves silicified mariposite. That's what this rock is. And the green in the rock is a mineral called fuchsite, which has chromium in it.
Oh.
And within the chromium are rare earths.
Yes.
And then also there's some other in this rock itself. There's some gray material.
Okay.
That is lepidolite and it has lithium in it.
Oh, so it's very valuable.
That's right.
Very, very valuable.
And so these were all ignored because the gold that's in here was so fine that the early miners and prospectors couldn't get it or didn't want it.
Yeah. So how do you, with that fine flour gold, how do you extract it and keep the other rare earth minerals intact so that they can still be usable?
No, how you do it is this: is they have new out of Finland.
Okay.
They have come out from an outfit called Outokumpu.
All right.
And they have reagents that will selectively take the fine material,
Okay.
and they'll separate the green and the gray material that's in this rock once it's crushed, because
Okay.
it'll just be mud.
Yeah.
And then they'll use these chemicals to separate, and they're non-toxic. They'll separate the material, and they won't use cyanide to get the gold out, because the gold will just be fine.
Oh, okay.
And the gold will come out with the magnetite and the other things in the magnetic separation, and then with a chemical separation, they'll get the rest of it.
Wow. So they've come up with some pretty up-to-date ways, I guess you would call it, ways of separating it so that every part is usable.
Right, we're getting the squeak out of the pig and the crow out of the tail.
Yes, exactly. So if people were to go out and they have like maybe tailings near them, how would they, let's say they find a rock, a boulder or a rock, let's say, and it's heavy and they think there might be something in it, where would they take it to find out if there's something in it?
Well, the best way to do it is to come over to the Gem and Mineral Club.
Okay.
And we have one of the best lapidary laboratories in all of California. We have lots of saws and lots of people that help people.
All right.
And you cut the rock.
Okay.
And then you can look at it with the hand lens.
Okay.
And you can see the gold in it with a hand lens.
And this looks like a jeweler's lens.
Yes, that's the three
For
powers
people
there.
who are, oopsie.
There's
I'm
40,
just gonna hold
30.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we sell these to our members of our club.
Okay.
And they're hard to get because they come from China.
All right.
And they were originally used for checking money.
How, now explain that to me.
Okay. They would check money for counterfeit money.
Okay, yes.
And they would use the 30 and 60 power lenses to look at various parts of the money to make sure it was good.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so the Chinese developed these hand lenses, and these are very high quality lenses from China.
All right.
But we can't get them anymore.
Oh, goodness.
We were able to get these and a few others that we still have in stock through Canada.
Okay. All right. But they're a little challenging to get now. Okay.
Right.
All right. But people can get them through your Gem and Mineral Society.
Yes, they can get it through us.
Okay. So they can come and you will help them actually determine whether there's anything of value in the rock.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what my job as I'm the past president of the Calaveras Gem Mineral Society, and I'm a registered professional geologist.
Yes.
And so I can say, well, this is how you do it. And then I can give them the books so they can learn how to do it.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was taught how to determine what minerals were in a rock, that was 60-some years ago. And the books that I used have been out of print for 40 years.
I imagine that a lot of the principles are the same, though.
Oh, they're all the book. We have a library with all the books in them.
Yes.
So all you have to do is open Dana's up and go through hardness, specific gravity, this type of thing, and you can.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
And you can find the information you need.
Okay. Okay.
For example, a gentleman has brought to me a very, very heavy rock.
All right.
And he doesn't know what it is, and I'm not sure what it is. And so we he's bringing it to our club in December at our December meeting, and then we're going to test it. We're going to cut it in half or cut a portion of it off because it's my precious rock.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know what it is, but we're going to test it and we're going to find out for sure what it is.
Okay.
And we can do that. And it's very easy to go on field trips for the Calaveras Gem Mineral Society. All you have to do is join.
Okay.
And it's $25 for a family membership or $15 for an individual membership.
Okay.
And all the facilities open, and every Sunday every third Sunday of the month, we have a potluck.
Oh,
We just
okay.
had a huge potluck for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow. So we only have like a couple seconds left. So if someone wanted to join the society, find out more about the society, how would they do that?
They call me.
They call you. So what's your phone number?
209
Okay.
586
Okay.
5632, and you
Okay.
can read about it
In the Calaveras Enterprise.
That's right.
Yes, there's a great article in the Enterprise. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're going to have to come on again because you are so full of information.
My wife says I'm full of it.
Information. And thank you for joining us here on Inside View, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. Take care. Bye-bye.